And then Maggie Nichols from Oklahoma, the NCAA all-around champion, but she is playing through pain here for this matchup today, Kathy.
Well, in her heart, she leads such a spectacular team. She wants to come up big every time. So much heart behind her gymnastics, and of course the talent, it's all there.
16 times she scored perfect tens in her young career, the junior from Minnesota. So the best teams in the country and the biggest stars in the sport when we come back to Norman, Oklahoma. Holly Rowe will take it from there. And you talk about perfect tens. Well, the Oklahoma Sooners, the only team in the country to have 10-0 start failures for all 6 athletes in every meet of the season. The only team to do that otherwise, I believe just once this year, is Florida. Leading them off is Nicole Lehrman.
And all of the athletes on Oklahoma are performing their Yurchenko with a 1.5 twist. Very difficult. They will land facing away from the table with a blind landing. Just a little hop. What was fantastic about that vault was the distance she flew from the table. The judges look for a good block off the table to see the height in the air. That's that big amplitude and the distance from the table, and of course form.
Take a look at the event rankings. We mentioned it's the best of the best. On vault, the Oklahomas are the #1 team in the country. UCLA is 5th. But look at the other 3 events. Bars, beam, and floor. It's the Bruins who lead the nation. The Sooners are 2nd in bars, 2nd on beam, and 3rd on the floor. As we get ready for the bars, the #1 team in the country. And leading them off is Margzetta Frazier, the spectacular freshman out of New Jersey.
And she is such an exciting lead-off performer. Her routine does not stop. It flies high, huge dynamics behind every skill.
Just a freshman, but already having an immediate impact on this team.
2 release moves in this skill, in this routine. Up to high bar, right back down to low bar with a packed salto. And right back up to the high bar with that half twist, looking for those handstand positions for perfection. Double layup, just a little shift of that 1 foot on the landing. So the gymnasts have to go back and forth between the bars, and when they do these difficult skills going back and forth, they get bonus points. Huge skills, and the dismount with the all-important landing, those judges are cueing in on those feet to see any movement.
Good start for the Bruins on bars. Anastasia Webb, the sophomore from Morton Grove, Illinois, up coming after Nicole Lehrman, led them off with a 9.875.
Another big Yurchenko 1.5. Let's see if she can keep those legs locked tight. Very nicely done.
This is her favorite event. She, in fact, changed her vault from last year because she had some inconsistencies with it.
And good for her for stepping up the level of difficulty. Really reached for that stuck landing, needed to absorb it just a little bit more and keep those legs tight.
UCLA back on the bars. Felicia Hano, the junior from San Gabriel, California, 3-time All-American. She has consistently contributed on vault, bars, and floor this season.
Her big skill is on the high bar. It's a single bar release. It's called a ray. She'll go from a toe on and then fly backwards over the bar to a regress, right into the overshoot down to low. Good amplitude, just a slight leg separation. Again, those judges want to see the handstands right in vertical. There's her pirouette, full right into a tuck double back on a perfect landing.
Bruins off to a good start on the bar. She gets congratulations from her teammates. They know in order to compete against the Sooners here at home,
check out the height above the bar. Perfectly positioned to make that regress.
Felicia Hano did her club training at Gym Max in Southern California, like several of the gymnasts. For UCLA, Jade Degovea, the sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida, coming up. 2 scores for the Sooners are 9.875 for Lehrman, and Anastasia Webb had a 9.85.
Now watch how quickly she twists. She twists like a cat in the air trying to find the landing, and it goes far and high. Very floaty. Oh, a little bit lower than I expected, but wow, she made up for it with that landing, a spectacular control on that landing, no movement.
We were talking to KJ Kindler before the meet, and she's like a cat. She can stick a landing almost any time. How about that?
Absolutely. I think we brought the cat out in her right there. And a big smile. She makes eye contact with Coach Lou Ball, who loves it.
3 solid vaults for the Sooners in this first rotation. We go back to the bars. Macy Taranjo now gets the call for UCLA. Now, UCLA, like Oklahoma, has been adjusting this lineup even late. She's the senior from Huntsville, Texas. In fact, she's only done bars once this year for the Bruins.
Stepping in last minute for Grace Glenn, whose routine just wasn't quite ready. So far, this routine is so good. Hitting those handstands, almost went over on that one, going after it so aggressively. All she's got left is the dismount. Nice big swing on these Giants to set it up. Tries to get the shape in the air for the landing. Just a micro hop on that landing. Chest is slightly down.
Quick reminder for our fans tuning in, the dual meet rules. There are 6 gymnasts on each event for each team. Just the best 5 scores count towards their team total. The team, of course, with the highest cumulative score wins. And the Oklahoma Sooners get what they call the Olympic order because they're at home. Vault, bars, beam, and floor. UCLA does the reverse of that. Allie Stern, the freshman from North Carolina, for the young Sooners, and they're off to a great start.
Another 1.5, just a little hop. You got to really firm those legs up as you feel the mat. Use the strength in the quads to hold that landing.
And they're coming off some momentum. Jade Degovea before her stuck her vault for a career-high 9.95.
And wanting to keep this momentum going, a little bit of legs in the air, and she lands a little closer to the table, so the dynamics are not quite as big.
Coach Kindler said sometimes her landings are a roll of the dice. Well, she managed to control that fairly well here in this pressure-packed situation. The top 2 teams in the country going head-to-head. Nora Flatley, the freshman from West Des Moines, Iowa, coming up now.
Watch this first combination. It's unique. Comes right out of the giant swing. Here, she's going to turn, and that's a Higgins roll into an eagle grip. Look at the height, the amplitude on her release move.
Impeccable form.
Really nice straight back on her handstands. I love that elite form. Like they're suck up the straw in the handstand. You can generate a lot of swing that way. Picks the feet up for the double layup and gets the landing.
How about that? The young freshman who had an extensive career as an elite athlete, 2 times member of the U.S. Senior National Elite Team.
Beautiful combination. Very difficult when you do that back-to-back. Nice to see that different grip. And the double layup floats it in. No movement.
3 9/8s in a row for UCLA on the bars. Macy Taranjo before her notched their 3rd one in a row as we go back to the Sooners. We didn't know if we'd see this young lady, Olivia Troutman, who has a groin pull earlier this week. She got some injections, and she's going for it today, Deb.
Adrenaline of this matchup will fuel the vault. 1.5 twist, a little hot on that landing, but so great to see her in the lineup.
She scored a perfect 10 at the Perfect 10 Challenge a few weeks ago in Oklahoma City on the floor.
Let's check out her height. It is 4.5 feet off the table. Tries to keep those legs really straight, lands 6 feet, but then unfortunately, that's a fairly sizable hop. It'll be a deduction.
She's a freshman from Champlin, Minnesota, the same gym club as Maggie Nichols. Talk about greatness. Madison Koshin coming up on bars. She, of course, 2-time Olympic medalist and world champion on this event.
Watch this beautiful skill. It's a stalder into a release back up to high bar. It's called a chow, and Madison does it extremely well. Very, very difficult. Lost her back just a little bit on that early pirouette on low bar.
2 career 10s on this event, 1 this year.
Locked in the handstand. Going into the Giants, into the dismount, hop back, little slide. Some beautifully executed difficulty in that routine.
She has had her share of injuries. Seems like every time we talk about her, she's coming back from something.
Love that stalder rate. Feet go right back behind your head. She wanted the landing held on just a little long and over-rotated
Brenna Dow will wrap up the first rotation for the Sooners on the vault, coming after Troutman notched a 9.85. Dowell, the junior from Odessa, Missouri.
This is power and precision at work. Oh, gorgeous vault. That's really your best vault of the competition so far. Technically, she does it so well. Gets those arms back to the table. No angle there, so she can block, push it straight up, hits that shape, opens the arms out, and just a half hop forward. Great vault.
She is just money on her landings. Former gold medalist with the U.S. World Championship team in the 2015 Worlds. And of course, we talked about stars. Here is Kyla Ross. She is superb, almost sublime on this event.
Watch the patience. She takes her time and shows off every skill to its fullest. Gorgeous bail to handstand, and that was a skill she had to rework the timing in the warm-up because these bars are set up differently. She is a pro and a phenomenal athlete at work. That's a treat.
10 perfect 10s in her career, 3 on the uneven bars this year alone, Kathy.
Well, I have to say, this one was better than those 10s. So I don't know what you do. Go 10-2. It was so picture perfect from start to finish. Not a toe out of line.
What an opening rotation. Let's go down to Holly Rowe, who's with OU's coach KJ Kindler.
KJ Kindler, you have shattered your season attendance record. You've had to open up the top of this building. What is it like to have this crowd here supporting you today?
My heart. I'm so excited. They deserve this. Both teams deserve this. This is an amazing turnout.
You got off to a great start on vault. Jade Dogoveo with a career high. And then how did Brenna McDowell finish that off?
She did amazing. That's one of her best executed vaults of this season. Really proud of them. And Jade stuck it cold. Can't ask for more than that.
How do you guys feed off this energy for the rest of the meet?
We just have to keep it rolling. Our heads are in the right place. I love it, and we're just going to go for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Holly Rowe and KJ Kindler. Kyla Ross, by the way, you called it, Kathy. She scored another perfect 10 on the bars, and it was well earned. Her 4th perfect 10 of the season. We're just in the first rotation, and we're going to see more from Kyla Ross and the incredible UCLA Bruins, as well as the #1 team in the country, the Oklahoma Sooners. This is as good as it gets. These two teams today as Gracie Kramer gets the leadoff spot for UCLA. This is the 2nd time only this year that she's vaulted for the Bruins.
We're going to see a lot of 1.5s here, but she's going to open with her full. Great distance on that ball.
We thought we might see Caitlin Ohashi in this role, but just like the other team, Oklahoma Sooners, UCLA is adjusting their lineups based on injuries and trying to manage their team to get to the end of the season. Of course, Val Condo's field is a master at putting the best team on the floor when it's important in her 29th season as UCLA head coach, and there'll be a big tribute to her at their last home meet on the 16th of March at Pauley Pavilion as she is retiring at the end of this season. Anastasia Webb leads off the Sooners on bar.
They are ranked #2. Look at the high flying release down to the low by the hack salto. It's beautiful. Maybe a little close to the bar, but she handles it extremely well. Sets up this dismount. It's new. Double front with a half twist. Very difficult and a great upgrade. Just that step back on the landing.
6 times in the all-around for the Sooners this year. Really has been solid.
Watch this transition down to low. The height she gets and then handles it because she was a little over the bar, but she blocked out through the shoulders and swung right out of it. And this dismount, double front with a half twist. Really difficult and nicely done.
Back to the vault now for the Bruins. Felicia Hano. They call her Fish. 3-time All-American. Ranked 13th in the vault this year. High score, a 9.95.
This is a 1.5 twist. Pulls it off beautifully. A little bit overdone. I've seen her over-rotate, under-rotate this season. She was making sure she had plenty of dynamic and power behind that vault.
The favorite event for the former national team member is vault.
And the difference you can see right off the bat, they're having issues with finding those landings so far this season.
Anastasia Webb led off the Sooners on bars with an impressive 9.825. Alex Marks, who competed only vault last year for the Sooners, has been in the bars lineup this year. 5 feet 8 inches tall. She is impressive.
She uses every inch to show off the lines on this event. Beautiful handstand, just a little bit cyclic with the feet. She has the toes together just to try to squeeze those ankles together for perfection. But wow, what a nice, you got half in, half out. That dismount is so uniquely done. So crisp and clear, the twist in the air.
The senior from Cushing, Oklahoma, did part of her club training at Dynamo Gymnastics in Oklahoma City, as well as Bart Conner Gymnastics Academy. Proud of this young lady.
Check out the handstand. Now the judges sit right on the side, so they get a perfect view. She is a little bit short of that vertical. She finesses it, but I think they'll get her just a little bit. And the dismount, half in, half out. Beautiful landing.
Young lady's a head taller than almost every other athlete on the floor, and yet she uses that long swing to her advantage. Felicia Hano had a 9.825 for UCLA. Sakai Wright is set to go. She's a freshman from Paramount, California.
And they really need to try to find these last few landings on the vault. They're giving away those tenths of a point. 1.5, nice quick half twist there at the end, but could not find the landing again. Brought her head and chest forward. Little bit of leg form. Those legs really need to stay stretched and tight through the knees, and that large step forward will be at least a tenth of a point.
Important test for the Bruins here is vault, because although they're ranked first on the other 3 events, they're only ranked 5th in the country on vault, and they need to keep it close to the Sooners on this event in this rotation. Carrie Thomas coming up now, 9.875 with the score for Alex Marks.
Set up that Jaeger front, her single bar release out of the Toronto line change.
Thomas is an uneven bar specialist.
Nice job hitting the vertical on that last handstand. A little bit of pike in the hips in her giant, but wow, she used it, got those feet right up into the dismount and hit a gorgeous shape, that layout position where you can spot the landing and get it.
Her low score this year is a 9.8, her high a 9.925.
Good height and distance, perfectly distanced from the bar to get a regress with straight arms. And check this out, chest up high and no movement.
And you rarely catch the Sooners without pointed toes. That polish has served them well. One of the reasons that they have won 3 NCAA championships, because in collegiate gymnastics it comes down to execution and polish. Leah Dennis, the sophomore now for UCLA, set to go after Sakai Wright at a 9.725.
This is a giant Yurchenko full. She doesn't do the 1.5, so this is scored from a 9.95, but she gets the most out of this vault with big amplitude. Good block up. I love that her head was in line with her shoulders, almost 5 feet off the table. 7 feet out. That hop back will be the major deduction in the routine.
Only one other vault in the lineup for the Bruins this year was last week against Utah. Carrie Thomas had a 9.925. That's a career high, and Brenna Dahl set to go.
And she attacks this bar routine like no other. Straight arm swing, big, aggressive swing throughout the routine. Impeccable handstand technique.
The young lady that had a nasty fall in warm-ups against a dual meet in Denver as these giant swings were picking up speed.
I love she got that last handstand. She's sometimes a little bit short, but not today. Got it right on top, which set up a perfect swing into the double layout. See how straight that body line is, and pops it up off the bar. 2 feet over the bar, toes still pointed, legs straight, arms outstretched when she regrasped. But this was just money at the end of the routine.
Coach Kindler said she has not yet put together a perfect meet so far, but that was a great effort. Kyla Ross now.
1.5. Boom!
Oh
my gosh!
Could it be another one?
Holy cow.
Already twice She has scored perfect 10s on vault, and we got to see one of them.
Boy, I tell you what, her well is so deep. She can dig down and find these landings, pulls them out of the sky, and uses those legs. That's a very safe landing for your knees, for your ankle, for everything.
It just shows you her brilliance, because other gymnasts might have forced into a step, but she bent a little bit lower than normal, but she didn't move her feet.
So far, I am like bowing Her Majesty. That's unbelievable.
What a meet we have going here in Norman, Oklahoma today. We're glad you've joined us. I'm Bart Connor, along with Kathy Johnson-Clark, and of course we have Holly Rowe. Nicole Lehrman on the bars after Brenna Dow got a 9.925, and the score at the same time comes in for Kyla Ross. It's her second perfect 10 of the day.
Speechless. Nice bar routine going. Look at the form. As you said, Oklahoma has that in spades. Even kept the form in that full twisting double back dismount. Whew, we got a competition.
Brenna Dow had their second 9.925 in a row, and the final two young ladies for the Sooners have both won bars championships at the NCAA.
Remember the .0375? That's how you fight for every tiny tenth of a point.
Lehrman, the senior from Austin, Texas. As we go back now to the vault after Kyla Ross's 10, here comes Paulina Trotz, the German national champion on this event.
I believe she's going to do a full. She trains a 1.5. Great height, distance from the table. A little bit of a pipe down. Look at the power in the run. You have to convert all that forward speed to up off the table. She finishes it at the table height. Just the hop back on the landing.
What an incredible meet we have so far. The Sooners have a slight lead, and Maggie Nichols will wrap up the rotation on bars. She's only, well, we don't know what she's doing yet. Looked like she was only going to do bars and beam in this event. You mentioned she's been dealing with some knee pain. She's coming after Lehrman's 9.925.
And she has it all in this routine. Big difficulty. She connects those two release moves back to back. It is perfection so far. Squeeze those feet together on that transition back to high bar. She also does a double layout. Let's see if she can get the landing. She often does. Oh my God, she's fighting it. She should pull those heels together. But she waited smartly, actually, to close those heels.
Maybe the two finest gymnasts in collegiate gymnastics here, Kyla Ross and, of course, Maggie Nichols.
Well, whether you know it or not, you have just been given a treat in the sport of gymnastics. Love that she connected those release moves. In slow motion, you can find the teeny tiny things, but look at her. She is not, her toes are off the mat, but she's not going to fall backwards.
And her feet are slightly apart. It'll be interesting to see what the judges do for that. 16 times she has scored a perfect 10. I don't think she's going to get it today here at home. And her score is in. It's the fourth 9.925 in a row for the Oklahoma Sooners on bars. So at the end of two rotations, OU with a .475, just under a half a point lead for the Sooners against the UCLA Bruins. Let's go down to Holly. And yet the Oklahoma Sooners, with an even 99 by just under a half a point, go to the beam with a lead over the Bruins. And this is an event where KJ Kindler has somehow masterfully organized the most consistent beam performances in the country. Let's see what they can come up with today. Brenna Dow will lead them off. And this is a rare spot for Brenna Dow, Kathy.
Absolutely. What I love about balance beam and floor exercise, these two teams embody what gymnastics is. It's entertainment. And they draw you in on these two events. Brenna has a lot of difficulty. That front aerial, she was a slightly off, had to make a correction with an arm swing, but she did it so fluidly.
Normally we see Olivia Troutman in the leadoff spot on beam for the Sooners.
Those are her leap series. Really need to try to keep that front toe point if possible, and you want to show off the full split in the air.
One athlete who's normally in the lineup for the Sooners here is Bree Showers. She's out with a torn ACL, so like the other teams, adjusting here late in the season.
And gave Brenna an opportunity to show off that full twisting back handspring, very difficult skill. She again had a little bit of a balance issue. She wanted to connect those two, the back handspring to the beat jump. I can see the nerves, but she's handling it. This is the first time she's competing beam, her senior year. And what a way to start them off. Handle those nerves and manage well.
And in a lead-off spot, which of course is enormous pressure because you set the stage and the momentum for the rest of the team. If you look nervous, sometimes it gets contagious. Go down to Holly.
Well, Marzetta Frazier has got such a fun routine to start things off for UCLA. It's Ode to a Drag Queen. She said the LGBTQ community is so important to her. She wants to show how people can come together in a place that is judgment-free. And she is paying homage to the voguing of that community. Wait till you see this. She said she watched the documentary Paris is Burning. Her song Dindada is an homage to the voguers of the past.
The #1 team in the country on this event, and this rotation will be a treat.
I can already see the Vogue femme there with the hand gestures and a catwalk, and then a really nicely landed full twisting double back, so she has it all.
She's the kind of free spirit that is just a perfect fit for the culture at UCLA Bruins gymnastics program.
Whip back, tuck double back, again showing great difficulty on all her passes. And a spin down to the floor, hit that music on the beat. Little duck walk. Pike double back, gets that chest up to show off. And watch the finale. She gets the attention, if she doesn't already. Butterfly spin. And the dip! I love it. That is a great tribute to Vogue Femme. Good for her.
Marzetta Frazier, the freshman from Sicklerville, New Jersey. If UCLA is going to get back in this and they trail by about a half a point, it's going to be because of these floor routines.
So if you didn't know what to look for, there's that spin, hits that drop to the floor on the beat of the music. Duck walk. Hard on the knees. Oh, and the hands. I love to see the hands. And the finale, everybody waits to see it.
Back to the beam now. 9.75 was the score for Brenna Dowell in her first lineup position on the beam. Nicole Lehrman, the senior from Austin, Texas, up now.
And I love this beginning choreography. The chest stands, the straddle split, showing off creativity and flexibility.
Interesting that KJ Kindler completely changed her beam routine a few weeks ago. It just wasn't working, and so she said, let's completely revamp it.
She had a really neat triple series, but if it is not working, those judges are going to take deductions.
She had a hip injury, which makes his lunges difficult, so they've had to readjust some of the skills in choreography.
So she'll do the back handspring layout step out as her acro series. KJ works hard to put these routines together, changes them every year to keep them fresh and the choreography alive and evolving. Cat leap, well done. Very few gymnasts can do a cat leap that looks that pretty in the air. It's kind of an awkward position. Right to the finish. Dangerful, just an adjustment with the feet on the landing. This makes me smile. Beautiful form, perfect split in the air, shows off those toe point.
She's having a really solid day on her events. 9.875 on vault, 9.925 on bars.
And there's that cat leap. You have to get those legs parallel and turn out the legs in the air.
Back to the floor for the Bruins. Gracie Kramer coming after Margzetta Frazier led them off with a 9-8-2-5.
And no one slips into their character quite like Gracie Kramer. Miss Val loves to create themes and stories, and they tell them with the movement, the facial expression, attitude.
I think she told us the theme on this routine is a villain who escapes maximum security.
She has such great musicality and comes back with the tumbling front double twist off front pike. Made that look easy. Makes you crazy look good. Beautiful set into that 1.5 twist and a floaty front layout. Final pass. So far, every landing has been spot on. Love that swan jump, that position up in the air. I'll tell you what, I can tell Miss Val had the conversation with them. She needed them step up to be stellar. Do your absolute best. That was it. This is a front layout with a double twist. It's an E skill. That's the highest level of skill in terms of difficulty. And the great teams all begin their routines with an E skill. This is a Rudy to a big, beautiful jump in the air.
Back to the Sooners now on beam. Nicole Lehrman had a 9-8-7-5 after Dahl led them off with a 9-7-5. As the chauffeur now, the sophomore from Ames, Iowa. We weren't sure who we were going to see in this spot. They've adjusted their lineup. Carrie Thomas may have gone, but now it looks like Evie got the call.
And with Olivia Troutman not doing balance beam, she would normally be in this lineup. They had to make that adjustment. And seeing these freshmen step into this position in such a high intensity meet. So far, so good. Ooh, lost her toe point at the top of those jumps and then lost her focus after the landing.
She's only been in 2 beam lineups this season. Had a 9-8-7-5, her high score against Denver, but only a 9-0-2-5 last week against West Virginia.
This is actually an improvement. It's so nice to see her calm herself back down. She's only had that one little balance mistake. She can finish strong. Big improvement for this gymnast. Up just a step back on the landing.
Later on today, MLS opening weekend is capped off by 2 more matches on ESPN and ESPN Deportes. First at 6 Eastern, defending champion Atlanta United kicks off his season against original MLS champion DC United. Then LAFC hits the road to take on Graham Zusi and Sporting Kansas City. Both matches can also be seen on the ESPN app. Interesting change in momentum here for these 2 teams. Oklahoma a bit nervy on beam, and UCLA pouring it on the floor, and that brings up Paulina Trotz.
And Bart, this is more of an experience than a routine. She is deliberately awkward because that's the character, the feel, the theme of this routine. Full in. Now you couldn't see from this angle, but her chest was a little bit low, so they'll take a slight deduction there. Pull little knees on those skills, lock them out straight. Nice leap shapes in the air, perfect.
Del Condos told us the theme of this routine is a French alien who is Coco Chanel, okay? So there.
As I said, deliberately awkward, and it works. People love this routine. Tuck double back, fought for that landing nice. They're allowed to land on the 2 feet and step into that lunge as long as it's not a big, giant step or a slide. Great attitude.
Of course, these routines get roaring applause in front of the home crowd at Pauley Pavilion, and respectful and polite applause here in Norman, Oklahoma.
E-skill, full twisting double back, but as I said, her chest was a little low on the landing. Watch the shape in the air. Front leg perfectly straight, parallel to the floor. Toe reached up to the top of her head. Nicely done.
Looks like there's a judges conference finishing up on the beam as we talk about how these rankings get determined. It's called NQS this year. It's the National Qualifying Score. It's used to determine team or individual's position for the upcoming NCAA postseason. Basically, the way they're calculated, you identify the top 6 scores, 3 of which must be from away meets. You drop the highest score and average the 5 remaining, and that is what they call their NQS. And all postseason positions and regional qualifying comes out of these numbers. So in addition to the 1 loss, both of these teams here are also looking for an impressive score for their postseason standing.
This begins with creative, mounts up to her knee and then slides into the split.
Evie Schoper had a 9.75, so Oklahoma showing a few nerves here. 2 9.75s and 1 9.875. That was for Lehrman, as Carly Woodard mounts the beam.
This year especially, the judges are really looking for the rhythm of the routine. Nice. Oh, no.
Ooh.
It's a great series. Aerial cartwheel back handspring, but she was completely off. You're right, Bart. They seem just a little too nervy. And it's built from each routine. It's just sort of adding. They need to release that pressure and stay aggressive.
This is a little bit different atmosphere than they're used to here in Norman. They almost by double the largest crowd ever to watch a dual meet in women's gymnastics here in the Lloyd Noble Center.
We seldom see falls from these two teams, so a reminder to the audience, it's a 0.5 of a point deduction for a fall off the apparatus.
She had a high versus Denver this year of 9.95. Of course, we won't see that today. But remember, as we said, 6 athletes and just the best 5 scores count towards their team total.
Aerial cartwheel full. Like to see her get back into that routine and be solid for the rest.
That'll put enormous pressure on their final 2 performers, Anastasia Webb and Maggie Nichols. But Kyla Ross has been our highlight reel so far today. In the first rotation, a perfect 10. Well-deserved on the uneven bars. And then in case you wondered, why not do one more on the vault?
Absolutely, why not? And she is so definitive with every single element in the routine. Now for floor exercise, that's a little bit more challenging. There are 3 passes, dance elements that you have to perform perfectly, and so much footwork that needs to be precise for no deduction.
The #1 ranked all-around gymnast in the country this season so far. Holly?
Well, you're talking about the fitness level it takes, and Kyla Ross said that's actually what's different about her this year. She knew that she would have to step up competitively with the loss of some of their great seniors last year, so she said she's been doing extra conditioning with her group. They'll go really hard for 2 minutes on the assault bike, on the exercise cycle, on the rowing machine. She said that 2 minutes, if I can go all out on that, that is like my floor routine.
And Holly, that was so perfect. Coming out of that second tumbling run, she walked right into the dance, showing the complete control necessary for perfection.
Biggest stars in collegiate gymnastics competing today here head-to-head. She's an Olympic gold medalist, 5-time world championship medalist for the U.S. team.
What Kyla has learned to do is milk the choreography, the little nuances, the facial expression. And then she walks into the focus for this final tumbling run. Pike double back. See if she can land. Oh my gosh. She has got stick fever. And that's a good thing.
Wow, what a meet the #1 gymnast in the country is having. In Norman today, Kyla Ross, the junior from Melissa Viejo, California.
Well, every single pass, she not only executed, there's that whip back to a tuck double back. She has such strength in her feet, in her legs, that she absorbs these landings so well, gets that chest up to show the judges everything they need to not take a deduction.
She's had a career perfect 10 on all events except floor. We go back to the beam now. Clutch time for the Sooners because Carly Woodard had a 9.275. Anastasia Webb on the beam now. And that 9.275 would likely be the score they can drop if Webb and Nichols can hit routines here.
And Anastasia's balance beam work is as beautiful as her name. It is flowing. It is flowery because the hand, look at the arms. Strives for form throughout these skills. Back handspring to lay out, step out. Beautiful that she's stretched up at the end of that. She goes in and out of her skills so nicely. Almost looks like it goes to the music that's played in the background.
Score just came in for Kyla Ross, 9.975. So she got a 10 from one judge and a 9.9 from the other, and they averaged those two scores for the final score.
Way to get them back on track.
Yes.
That is a clutch performance by Anastasia Webb.
If Oklahoma can hold on to win this meet, it might be because of that. After a 9.275, a gutsy performance here for the sophomore.
And she fought from the start to the finish, kept everything moving, so anything that was even slightly off, she could make the correction without any limits.
Oklahoma had a lead of nearly a half a point after two events. Well, that has been squandered down to 1/10 of a point as we go to Felicia Hano, coming off of Kyla Ross's 9.975 for UCLA. This is unreal.
But this is such a fun routine. Again, with the character and the theme.
You notice the gymnasts are allowed to use that extra mat to protect their ankles on landings. There's no deduction for that.
To fun half and a little stag jump with some character in it.
Speaking of character, I understand the theme here is a 1920s mermaid who comes in and out of the water. So there. Had a 9.9 last week at Utah.
There's the part where you can really feel like it's underwater. Comes up for air to show off these turns. The judges are looking for the shape and the full revolution in the air. Nice little touches in this routine. Miss Val, of course, comes from the dance world, and she creates such memorable choreography. And honestly, I think that's at the heart of finding the joy in this sport. They've all done it, and they share it.
Miss Val's background as a dancer, that's true. She is remarkable in her success as a gymnastics coach because she was never a gymnast herself, always came from the dance world.
Showing off that double layout, another E element, so good difficulty in this routine. Oh, and you always have your team with you. They know your choreography.
Makes the away teams feel just that much more at home when your team is just off the edge of the floor supporting you. Okay, Maggie Nichols coming after Anastasia Webb's 9.85. This is a crucial routine. They hope to replace the 9.275 for Woodard.
And if you're writing a script, this is who you put in this position. She has come up with so many clutch performances. And very few gymnasts should actually try to be perfect. Usually you try to be normal. She can actually, normal is perfect. Little bit low on that back leg in that jump.
She hasn't had the season she's wanted because she's been dealing with knee pain. She had PRP injections recently, that's platelet-rich plasma, to help the healing. So she's doing a limited number of events this season. They hope to have her at full strength for the postseason when they're going to try to win their 4th national championship.
As someone who's worked beam, I just love to see when something is just ever so slightly off and watch the little hand gesture that fixes it without the audience knowing. Switch leap to a split leap, much better position in those leaps.
She's averaged 9.9 so far this year on this event, ranked 9th in the country.
Solid, as always. Watch the landing here.
My.
Oh my God, feet are apart.
Wow.
But she pulls them together for the salute.
That was brilliant.
Yes.
Under enormous pressure,
Absolutely.
Kathy. Remember, they have to drop that low score, and they needed this routine right here.
See that back foot, that's the only thing. If she could just pointed and lifted that up a little bit. But I tell you what, pressure makes diamonds, and this was a gem. Really, look at that. Even in slow motion. Perfect until the feet apart on the landing, but still look great.
And from one special treat to another, Maggie Nichols delivers, and we go back to floor for UCLA, the most watched sports clip of 2019. Let's just sit back and appreciate the remarkable Caitlin Ohashi. 8 times she has scored perfection, 6 of them on the floor exercise.
Little pieces in this choreography just work so perfectly.
Her viral performances have literally been the most important thing that happened to women's collegiate gymnastics this season. All around the world, they're seeing the joy, the love, the success, and the inspiration from this young lady who struggled as an elite athlete, and now she is on top of the world. In fact, I just saw an article about her today in the Rolling Stone.
And even though many of those people have no idea how difficult some of the tumbling passes are, and the choreography, whoo, good for her. That is such a thrill seeing it in person.
And terrific appreciation from the crowd here in Oklahoma, who knows what they just witnessed.
And this is the difficulty I'm talking about. This is a double layout, but watch what she does with her legs. The split in the beginning just elevates that skill to another level. And the joy that she creates all around her. This is just such an incredible moment for all the people in this arena to see this in person. That's the best she's ever done that. Kept those toes pointed all the way down to the split drop.
And we're waiting on her score, and it's in now. It's a 10. So Ohashi gets another 10 on the floor. And guess what? This meet is flat out tied going into the final rotation. We thought it would be a dream matchup, and on an incredible performance on the floor, UCLA matches up with the Sooners, who are a little bit tight on the beam. And a big thrill, our third 10 of the night, this one from Caitlin Ohashi.
Well, she went after it, and she got it with so much fun. Wow.
It doesn't get any better than that. You're not going to want to miss the finish of this competition. Don't go away.
What a thrill.
So here is the summary of number 2, UCLA versus Oklahoma. 3 10s so far. Of the 19 10s in the season in the NCAA, 15 come from the athletes in this competition today. So here we go. Clutch performances now for the visiting team, the Bruins on the beam, as the Oklahoma Sooners will be on the floor in this 4th and final rotation.
And you're going to see some beautiful choreography in these beam routines. Miss Val makes them treat the balance beam like a stage, and it's a performance in her mind. Yes, they have to be perfect on the skills, the elements that the judges are scoring, and looking for any tiny mistakes. So far, she is showing very few of them.
She had to sit out for 4 meets earlier this season because of a bruised heel, so she was only competing in the uneven bar lineup.
Those leaps and jumps are as perfectly performed as possible. Perfect split in the air, nice full turn, then shows off the flexibility as if we hadn't seen it yet. Just putting a punctuation mark at the end of that fantastic sentence. What a routine from start to finish.
Great start. Oklahoma started nervous on beam, but not the case for UCLA. Grace Glenn, great start for the team that is ranked #1 in the country on this event.
You can watch these skills in slow motion. She even shows off the full split in her back handspring. Amazing.
We mentioned that the Oklahoma Sooners are doing without the all-around expertise of Maggie Nichols, but Anastasia Webb having a solid day, but yet to hit a 9-9. So she'll lead them off on the floor. And this is an event where KJ Kindler acknowledged to us that her dream lineup hopefully is healthy later in the season. So they're just kind of trying to piece it together today.
Look at the posture on this routine. She stretches up out of it, which really shows this off to the fullest. Front double twist, control on the landing. She doesn't walk, she prances through this routine. Back 1.5 to front full. Good amplitude on both those saltos. Top of that leap.
Final pass.
1.5 twist. Absolutely gorgeous presentation. So many beautiful pictures in that routine.
Sports Center tonight after LAFC Sporting Kansas City with Steve Levy and John Anderson. They'll break down the NCAA field from top to the bubble. 2 weeks from Selection Sunday. Plus the best moment from MLS's opening weekend. And Antonio Brown reveals how his relationship with the Steelers soured in this week's SC feature. SportsCenter, 10:30 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Back to the beam now. Brielle Wynn now for the Bruins coming after Gracie Glenn. Rocked a 9-9 in that leadoff spot.
Good for the judges for not being afraid to throw up that big score at the start of a lineup. Sometimes they're a little hesitant. They want room to go. Front aerial to a standing layup. That's such a difficult combination. They may get her for rhythm. I think they will probably give her credit for the series because you really have to connect them with no extra movement.
The senior is a balance beam specialist for UCLA.
Anytime you see those leaps that turn in the air, not just split, but actually rotate a full revolution around, makes them more difficult.
Former transfer from Illinois had a 9-9 last week against Utah.
And the dismount, front with a full, great landing. Whew, they are really rocking these routines. Such confidence, because I like that they're still smiling, they're performing. Kept her hips right over the balance beam and pulled her center of gravity, pulled that torso back in line. That'll be a slight deduction in rhythm and a balance break. The rest
we mentioned they were tied coming into this rotation. Well, they're still tied because both teams had lead-off 9-9s. Jordan Draper up now for the Sooners. 6 times in the floor lineup in this season. Her best was a 9.95, but only a 9.725 against West Virginia last week.
And this is an interesting routine. She's only going to do 2 tumbling passes. Very challenging to get everything you need in terms of difficulty and requirements. She does that for the back half. That's her backward tumbling into the front Rudy. So nothing is a big difficult skill, but she combines skills to get those requirements in place. So second and last pass. Full. I was expecting a full, which would have been much better in terms of difficulty and bonus. But she also adds a very difficult leap if she can get it all the way around. There's a switch leap. Now here's a switch full if she gets it all the way around. That's a big skill. Nifty little routine there. Nicely packaged.
The sophomore from Bedford, Texas. A solid performance coming after Anastasia Webb led them off with a 9-9.
Now this is the one I said, here's the first switch leg leap. Now she switches. A lot of gymnasts do this full without switching the leg first. That makes it a little bit more difficult.
Kathy, you called it right on Brielle Wynn's beam routine. It was a 9.775. So it puts enormous pressure on the rest of the lineup to nail their performances. And here's a young lady who's been in that position many times.
And she's had a few shaky routines. Miss Val spoke to her coming into this meet. She said, you need to give your permission to fall. I'm not going to be upset if you fall, if you go big. Go big, be aggressive. And usually the outcome is good.
She missed her beam routine against Utah last week, the Olympic gold medalist, Koshin.
You can have nerves, but you can have no fear. Go after it big. She had a little correction there, fought through it. Now here's her next difficult combination here, front aerial. She needs to connect it to a split jump. Little hesitation, but much better than last week. She's kind of broken through that confidence barrier.
Mentioned she's always coming back from something. She had a shoulder injury last year. They discovered last August a fracture in her femur. So just emphasizes just how tough these young women are, competing as any other athlete would with.
They just wear the crystals to distract you from how tough they are.
Oh yeah,
it's
good
beautiful,
job.
But wow, what fight. Good for her. I know they're going to be happy with this routine. Couple little mistakes in there, but she fought through and kind of had a turnaround in terms of her confidence. Got those arms up, had to slightly adjust. They'll get her on rhythm. We'll see if they give her connection bonus and credit for putting the two together.
And we'll go back to the floor now for the Sooners. Well, apparently the judges like Jordan Draper's nifty routine, as you called it, Kathy, a 9-9 for her. Emma LaPinta, the freshman from Frisco, Texas, set to go now. Emma, by the way, did her club training at Kurt Thomas Gymnastics. Gymnastics fans will remember, of course, the U.S. first male world champion, the legendary Kurt Thomas, was her coach.
Opens with a triple twist. How great is that?
4 times in the lineup on floor for the Sooners this year with 2 hits and 2 misses.
Not bad on the positions in those leaps. Think of them as pictures frozen in your mind. You need to see the full split, straight legs.
AJ Kindler says she seems to be sometimes anxious when she's competing, so her misses come on different elements each week. Important pass coming up here.
So far, so good. It almost looked like she got her heels over the line on that before she tumbled, but wow, KJ just leapt off the ground.
don't think I've seen KJ Kindler jump so high, because she knows that was an important routine. The Sooners, not competing with their best lineup on floor, need those kind of clutch hits.
Absolutely. They needed her to step up, and she was able to do that in such a high-intensity meet. Good for her.
2 hits and 2 misses this year, but a hit when they needed it.
Watch this. Very difficult. 3 twists. 1, 2, and 3. Just a little leg cross. Great difficulty, though, and so wonderful to see her nail this last pass. Thrilled her coaches.
We go back to the beam now. 9.825 was the score for Madison Koshin. So UCLA has a 9.9, a 9.775, and a 9.825 as the remarkable Nora Flatley, the freshman from West Des Moines, Iowa, steps up.
I loved her mount, that little quick look over her shoulder as if an I got a secret moment. And the secret is out. She is such a beautiful, elegant performer on balance beam. Textbook on that series right there. Aerial cart with straight legs, nice cover. There is a slight flaw there. They will take a deduction for the balance break.
Ms. Val says her coaching tip for her this week is to stand tall. She said sometimes she tries to get angry, to get aggressive, but sometimes that makes you tight.
Now what she thinks about is getting taller as she goes into beam. Each skill taller than the last one. Finish tall. Up. Couldn't quite get the stick, but oh my gosh, that is such a lovely beam routine.
And those hops are going to matter. These two teams separated by 75 thousandths of a point as we're hitting the halfway point in the final rotation. Much like what we saw last year at the NCAA championship, this could come down to the last athlete and the last landing. Jade Degovea, you see her NQS, her national qualifying score on the floor.
And this choreography is so interesting and unique. It fits her like a glove.
Coach Kindler told us she picked this music and everybody on the team wanted it. And Jade,
she held her ground. she goes, I asked for it first, I'm getting it.
Says she is that rare combination of a great performer, a real individualist, and yet still a team player.
Second pass, a little bit of leg form in the air. Nice job on those leaps.
Out for most of last season with an injury to her plantar fasciitis, but came in strong, trying for the NCAA championship. Just a sophomore from Fort Lauderdale, Florida.
Spectacular choreography and done so well, performed just perfectly, fit her precisely as it should.
And she's coming up after the 9.875 for Emma LaPinta. So strong routines there. But let's go back to, so far, the most remarkable gymnast of this meet with 2 perfect 10s, Kyla Ross. How many times has she been in this position and in need of delivering a big routine?
And when she grabs the beam to mount, it's as if she just stills the world around her, and her focus is laser sharp. She is simply serene on this event. So calm, so potentially perfect at every step, every hand gesture.
2 perfect 10s and a 9.975 so far this meet. She's scored perfect 10s twice on beam.
She has one difficult leap to go in this routine. I love that full turn with the leg and back, scoots right out of it, shows off the flexibility there in that scale.
What a magical gymnast she is. She's in top 5 in all the events in the NCAA. That's rare.
This is her best routine I've seen this season so far on this. There's the leap. Switch leap to split jump. Just superb. If she can stick the landing, I would go to, oh my goodness gracious. It was utter perfection until that one little shift. I'm talking a shift, not a hop, not a step, a shift of the back of the foot to the back.
Wow.
Oh my goodness.
Could we have seen her third 10 of the day?
Yeah, it was, I would have gone 10 until that particular moment. Everything else on the balance beam, watch this in here. The picture is gorgeous. That's a poster on your wall, folks. Amplitude through the roof. And then right here, just a little pike in the hips causes her to over-rotate slightly, but who takes a step as beautifully as Kyle Ross?
Even if she's going to take a step. It's lovely. Okay, Brenna Dow will do this floor routine now for the Sooners, and she opens up with a move that's actually named after her. It's a pike double front somersault. She first debuted at international competition, therefore it is named after her. It is, I mean, tough.
You can feel the power when she runs into this. Pike double front.
Yes.
Little over rotation, but she was making sure that she got it all the way around, and it was high.
She steps so close to the line. If you step on the line, it's okay. If any part of your body is over the line, it's a 1/10 deduction.
Perfect landing there. That's the landing she wanted out of that double pike, but it's such a difficult skill.
You see that on your screen there, a 9.875 or more means that Brenna Dow can actually clinch this win for the Sooners at home in the big rematch, even before the final performer for the Sooners would go, and that would be Olivia Troutman.
Brenna has gotten so much more comfortable performing on floor exercise. She usually just lets her power be on display. Let's see if she can get this landing front layout, front full to stag jump. Really great job with that routine.
She had a 9.9 on vault, a 9.925 on bars, a 9.75 on beam. But how about this?
It's all going to come down to what the judges do with this landing. If this is such a difficult skill, double pike, she over-rotates slightly, and that's an adjustment on that step, and it's a little too large a step for perfection. But the rest of the passes, just exceptional on the landing.
So as we wait on her score, we'll go back to the beam for the sublime Caitlin Ohashi. She herself has scored perfection on this event as well. #1 on the beam in the country right now.
She's extremely talented on this event. She's a natural beam worker. She has just that innate sense of balance, and the difficulty in this routine. 2 front aerials to a back handspring.
You see the score on your screen. Brenna Dow's score is in. It's a 9.925. For the Sooners, a 197.7 means they will clinch the win even before Ohashi completes her routine.
Watch this final lead up to her dismount after she does these leaps. Perfectly, I might add. But it's so difficult. She does tumbles down the beam, back handspring, layout, right into the dismount, and a perfectly stuck landing. What a way to cap off a phenomenal competition here. That's epic.
Epic. A 10 on the floor, a solid set for Ohashi on the beam. Here's a young lady who's become a powerful advocate for young women around topics such as bullying and body shaming, and even her message has transcended those magical performances.
And it's such an important message to everybody out there watching. Be yourself, be happy, find the joy in everything you do.
Well, how about an encore for the young freshman, Olivia Troutman? We weren't sure we were going to see her. She had a pulled groin muscle. We know that she's already scored a perfect 10 on floor earlier this season.
One of the most exciting freshmen in the country right now. Double layout.
Freshman from Minnesota, same club as Maggie Nichols.
Nice amplitude, very high on those front tumbling skills. Wonderful twist.
She told Coach Kindler she wanted a funky routine, so KJ found the music and said, let's go with this.
Funky describes it perfectly. It's fun and funky.
KJ tells us that she's totally different from many freshmen. There's no drama ever, she says. Always smiling and entertaining in the gym.
So glad we got to see her today.
What a treat. A couple of days ago, the coaching staff said, we're not sure Troutman's going to go. She showed up and warmed up and said, put me in, coach. And boy, did she deliver. We talked at the top of the show about some of the Sooners playing in pain and the difficult week they've had. And yet, how about this?
She showed it all off. A double layout, complete with a smile at the end, and then came back. Nice height on the front layout to the front full. And a double back. She covered this little bounce back so well with a shining smile and picture-perfect form of the fingertips.
And after Ohashi's 9.95, then it was Troutman with her own 9.95, and Holly Rowe is with KJ Kindler, the winning coach.
Well, KJ Kindler, given all of the injuries that your team has been battling through, you're tied going into the final rotation. How important was that for you to win this on the floor?
So important. Emma LaPinta, I can't tell you, that routine really catapulted this team on this event. She's had a rough time all season, hitting on all cylinders. Today she did that. It was huge.
Given the way the national championship ended, how important was it for you guys to find that within yourselves today to beat UCLA?
I just like to see the fire in them at the end. They were gutting it out, every routine after routine, you know? It's just really, obviously I'm very proud. It's just an awesome moment for them, but just to see them rise like that, that's huge.
And to do it in front of a crowd that is sold out, that is the biggest I've ever seen gymnastics here for you, what does that mean for you in this program?
This program, we've earned that. You know, we've been 3-time national champions, and a lot of people are missing out on this amazing product. So I'm just so proud. I hope they'll all come back and continue to support our team.
All right, we will see you at the national championships. Thank you.
We had hoped for a dream matchup today between the two top ranked teams in the country, and boy, did we get it. Oklahoma with a win, 197-75 over UCLA, 197-5-75. How about the 210s from Kyla Ross from UCLA, Kathy?
They were something most of the people in this arena will never forget. To see such perfection and such grace and power from one athlete. And keep in mind, on the other two events, she was as close to perfect as you can possibly be.
And Oklahoma's Maggie Nichols playing through pain, not in the all-around today, but likely to be a strong contender against Ross for the all-around championship at the NCAAs in April.
You mix heart and fantastic gymnastics together, you get Maggie Nichols. What a treat.
So a thrilling day in Norman, Oklahoma, and two coaches who have enormous respect for each other. The top two programs in the country saying thank you, sharing the floor together tonight here in Norman. So Oklahoma with a 197-775 over UCLA, 197-575. What a day here in Norman. We're glad you joined us. For Holly Rowe and Kathy Johnson-Clark, I'm Bart Connor. Coming up next is the UFC on ESPN. So long from Norman, Oklahoma.